I made these drawers in the bottom of the router table, and I wanted handles that didn't stick out because I don't want to hit my leg on them when I'm using the table. So I came up with this idea of just cutting into the front plate of the drawer with a little grip there, and it works pretty good. And I'll show you how I made them. I've got a fence clamped to the drill press table, and that allows me to drill a row of holes that will be perfectly lined up. I get better results when I also clamp the material to the table. Then there's no movement at all as the drill bit comes down. You can get away with just one clamp, but put it on the right hand side, and then the rotation of the bit will force the other end of the board into the fence. This is a 1 1/4 inch diameter drill bit, and the two end holes are spaced 2.5 inches on the centers. I've got the drill press on the lowest RPM so there's no overheating of the drill bit. Okay, over at the router table, I've got these fence stops set so that the bit ends up in the center of the hole at each extreme. And I always want to be sliding this way because the bit is spinning this way. And I've moved the fence back to take a little more off. I'll keep repeating that until I get a straight line across here. 2 passes on each side is enough. I've got the stops set up so that the center of the rotor bit lines up with the center of the hole. I'll use the ball bearing as the guide, but I don't want the router bit to touch the lower edge here, so I've got the fence there to limit its travel, but I'll be using the bearing as the guide. The bit is spinning this way, so I'm going to want to move the wood in this direction, so that's the opposite direction that we were moving before. I'm taking off just 1/16 of an inch at a time, and I found that a little wedged piece of wood like this is helpful. Instead of trying to let it down with my fingernails, I can just sort of slip that out as the bit is spinning to bring it down gently. So there's the start of the finger grip on the inside, and I'll just raise the router bit. I'm getting close to my final pass, keeping an eye on how thin this little bit here gets. And there's the back side with it completed. There's the front, and this little lip right at the edge measures 0.2 inches thick. And I'll just soften that inside edge by hand with sandpaper. These outer edges I'll leave crisp because this plate is going to butt up against the front of the drawer. So here's the drawers, and I'll attach the plate with double-sided woodworking tape. And I got 1/8 inch spacers here. And just to make sure I'm getting a good bond there, I'm pushing the drawer from the back of the cabinet. So now I can carefully pull the drawer out. And now that I've got that plate perfectly aligned, I can drill and countersink holes in here, put the screws in, just leave that double-sided tape in place, and the screws. These are the Blum MOVENTO undermount drawer slides. They're nice because you don't see anything from the side, and they close in gently. I put these wooden runners inside the cabinet. They're set into dados that are cut perpendicular to the face, and they're really just to align the slide so that I know that it's perpendicular to the face. I purchased the optional synchronization rod and track, which keeps the two runners aligned as it moves in and out. That's important when the drawer is wide but not deep.